another insightful series, Future of L&D Tech, where we explore the ideas, innovations, and leadership perspectives shaping the future. Today, we're diving into one of the most transformational topics in the corporate world, the future of learning and development technology. Organizations today are facing a unique challenge. Skills are becoming obsolete faster than ever. AI is changing the way we work, and traditional learning models are struggling to keep pace with business transformation. To help us unpack this fascinating landscape, I'm delighted to be joined by Reena Patel, an experienced learning and organizational development leader who has spent more than 2 decades helping organizations build talent, leadership capability, employee growth, and learning cultures at scale. Reena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Roshan. It's going to be a great experience.
Absolutely.
AI is the buzzword. True. So happy to explore and have conversations on that.
Absolutely. And we're lucky to have you on this show with us with 2.5 decades experience. I'm sure there's a lot to learn from you as well. Right. Now, so Reena, before we jump into, all AI and technology and what's happening in the industry, we'd like to know you a little bit, right? So, what originally attracted you to this field of learning and development? How did you enter?
So you'll be surprised because I started my job as a frontline customer service executive. Okay. I was working at the airports, then I moved to customer service on the phone. Right. And at some point in time, I got thrown into training at that organization. Right. And that got interesting because it was handsets in the boom with Vodafone is where I was working with, and I started liking the process and then transitioned into a full-fledged career. So became a process trainer to moving into behavioral training, etc. And that is where it is.
So you started at the roots.
I started at the roots.
I think that's the best way to get into an industry. True. Now, looking back at your career, what has been the biggest shift you witnessed in how organizations think about learning these days?
So learning has evolved, right? While it is one of the by functions of HR that it is still called, but there is a lot of evolvement in terms of it's not now a tick box. It's more of a function that is looked at by business saying that am I getting some kind of an return on investment if I'm doing training, right? L&D folks have become enablers. Right. HR is an enabler in terms of acquisition and building the pipeline, etc. L&D has become an enabler in terms of bridging that skill gap, in terms of how can I get business their due worth, in terms of creating that experience for those customers.
Right. So would you say L&D has become more dominant in creating business impacts?
It's a fair comment to pass. When I say creating a business impact, in terms of solutioning with business, right? I can't have a L&D solution standing on its own, which is not speaking to the business requirement. So as long as the business is agreeing to the solution that I'm providing as an L&D professional, and that's when they see the impact. Right, so it has to be tied in with the business goals at some point in time.
Correct.
So that is the shift that L&D is making in the strategic point of view. Yes, the base of it remains the same. You're delivering, you're getting mandates and all of it. But the major shift that is happening is that am I becoming a strategic learning partner to business?
Right. True. So it's a long-term impact that L&D creates. It's never a short-term period. True. Now, also tell us, was there a defining moment when you realized learning could directly influence business performance rather than simply employee development?
So, for example, there are certain interventions that we worked, like I said in the last answer also, that if I don't tie it up with business outcome, it's not going to show. Right. And I have experienced this in terms of, especially when it comes to hardcore sales or banking. For example, we've done programs where we've seen at the end of the year either that percentage increase in overall sales or a percentage increase in the kind of collections that the team has done. So there has been an impact. It may not be huge, but there is a needle movement in terms of business impact.
Fair enough. Now, how has your perspective on L&D evolved from the time you came into the industry to where you are today? I'm sure there's been a huge evolution.
Yeah.
What is your perspective?
Like earlier, you would look at training was always looked at. I have to go for a full day training. I'm going to get food. I'm going to get some tea, coffee. Going to have fun and come back.
Correct.
Right? And anybody.
It was a day off.
It was a day off practically from work, especially people working in the ITES and all of that. No calls, nothing. People will be very happy to come in.
True.
But it's funny because and that impression still is there, right?
It's not. It will always be
there. like seriously. I mean, even as recent as now, people say, "Come on, yeah, y'all are doing a training. What's for food?" I'm like, "You're not coming for food. We're not serving you food."
Right.
But having said that, I think one of the biggest shifts that you see is, while you're chasing mandates, you're chasing number of hours, you're chasing number of people, unique employees completed, those all still will remain. But the biggest shift is that we are moving to learning which is more relevant to business. We have shifted to learning which is more shorter versions, because nobody has time to sit for longer 2 days, 3 days, unless they are hardcore managerial programs and all of that.
Leadership ones.
Those two also, if they're relevant to the role, makes more sense.
Right.
We're looking at training, we're looking at delivering solutions which are more role relevant, because the relevancy to the role then impacts the business relevancy.
Right.
So that is the shift that is happening.
Right. You're very right, because initially it was about mandates and doing the tick mark.
Yeah.
But I think the justification has evolved over the years. Where do we create the impact and everything?
Like for example, some of the organizations that I work with, especially banks and all, you have to report mandates as a part of the compliance requirement.
Right.
But as a team, we never chased mandates. At the end of it, when we were doing quarterly reports, we really, for RBI, we said, oh my God, we've actually got some mandates. So it depends on organization to organization. The last organization that I worked for, we would look at mandates. Okay. But mandates were not looked at in entirety. It was also looked at along with the business impact.
Right. So it has to be weaved in together.
It has to be weaved in. So I would not go and tell business that your people have to complete 4 days of training.
Right.
It was internal KPI for a measure for my appraisal, for example. Right. But business was never told that you have to do 4 days of training.
Okay.
Business was told these are the workshops that are happening. Role relevant workshops, sales workshops, be a part of it.
Right.
So the KPIs are internal to L&D. As organizations, I think that shift has happened where people are not telling businesses that this is your training KPI.
Right. So
that is the major shift, right? Initially, if you remember, in the ITES world, you would have 4 days of training the person has to attend. Then only you'll
mandatory.
get but all that is not. Apart from compliance, which is underlined everywhere, but nothing else.
Interesting. Now, so if you compare the learning function of 2005 to 2025, what has fundamentally changed?
Shorter, crisper interventions, learning on the go, a lot of technology enabled learning, a shift towards hyper personalization.
Right, that's been a major one.
You have a lot of these short-term courses what people would like to take on, online.
Right. Micro-learning burst.
Micro-learning burst is huge.
Bursted for that as well.
Micro-learning burst is huge. And last but not the least, it's no more only classroom.
Right.
So there are blended learning modules, there are only online, and So the learner has a choice of how they want to upskill themselves.
Right.
It's not necessary that he or she has to come to a face-to-face classroom training.
Interesting. So, on a concluding note for this section, learning obviously has evolved from what it was to where it is today. Do you think that learning as a function has taken a core role in most of the organizations today, or learning is still not looked upon as a core function?
It's been a slow journey, and it will be always an evolving journey.
Right.
But there is definitely a different outlook when it comes to learning. Right? It's not only a byproduct of an overall HR function. It does stand alone and saying that, hey, this is what we are able to do, and business does look at the value add. Right? I think the biggest shift or biggest change that has happened is that business also is involved in creating those journeys for their people. Right? So any kind of learning is backed by business will work. The function will stand out. That's how it is.
I think that's the
key.
Defining
that
structure,
is a defining
I suppose.
structure. Yeah.
True. Interesting. Well, thank you for sharing that,
Thank
Reena.
you.
Thanks.